What is up, guys? It is day 3 of the People's Week, Democracy Week, and today we have an unreleased, hopefully banger of a shoe from Topo. And I told you guys, this is the People's Week. We're giving the people what they want day after day after day this week. There's just going to be hits, no misses. And by the way, someone pointed out, the United States of America is not a democracy, it's a republic. Yeah, I know. I was a poli-sci major, bro. It's a democratic republic. We vote for the people who vote for the stuff. If we directly, the people, voted for the stuff, it would be a complete mess. But the stuff we have here today is the Topo Specter 2. It's taken on these $200 stalwarts up here. Cloud Monster Hyper 220. Asics Superblast. Probably, if you can find it on the black market, $450. New Balance Fresh Foam Balos, a brand new banger of a shoe, $200. And I highlighted this one the other day, and you guys asked me, man, is that overpriced? Is that too expensive? I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. We have to do more testing on the shoes. All these shoes on the top, though, are great shoes that it's hard for me to say any shoe warrants a $200 price point, but they offer more than a typical $160 everyday running shoe would give you, whether that's race foam, extra protection for time on feet, making it easier to run long miles without feeling the impact. All those things are what these $200 shoes plus others like the Hoka Skyward X or even race shoes give us. So today we have the Topo Specter 2, and we're going to see if it can deliver some of those same features because it has that race foam but at a lower price point. Specter 2, let's get into it. You might be wondering what we have on top of the box here. This is the Topo Cyclone 2. And to date, to this day, this is the most hype shoe Topo has in their lineup. This is the exciting shoe. This has the race foam. It's a little bit of a lower stack shoe. It's like a Rebel V4 or a Mach 6 or even a Takumi Sen. It's a hybrid racing shoe or speed training shoe. I did one workout in it. I have not fully tested this, but a lot of people love this shoe for the lightweight feel and for the fact that you're getting a lot of bounce and pop without having that plate, and it's a non-plated stack of PEBA here, of race foam. So the Spectre is building on the success of the Cyclone. Yes, Topo does have a lot of other shoes, specifically in the trail space, and they're known for having these wider toe boxes and more anatomical fits. Topo has some other shoes that people like, but in terms of running nerds who get hyped about the tech, this is the one. So the Spectre 2 is looking to build on this. Spectre 1 was a little bit more of a traditional training shoe with just a drop-in of PEBA. Let's open this guy up and see. Let's see if it can deliver. All right, guys, we got the magic knife here. Boom, a little present from Charlie for, what was it, my birthday last year? And, oh, man, we have the cardboard box. Guys, when these brands pull up with the cardboard box, you know they are not playing around. They are coming to show you we got sustainability. We are eco-friendly. Pull up with that post-consumer recycled cardboard. All right, Topo Athletic, yes, their logo does look like the Turkish flag. We've discussed that before. We do not need to discuss that today. But boom. Oh, here. We will discuss this part today. So this is, if you're not familiar with Topo, this is what they do. That's a little bit different. The wider toe box, and let's grab the Cyclone really quickly here. So wider toe box up here, giving you that platypus vibe. Secure midfoot and heel. So what that actually means in practice is the midfoot and heel can be a little snugger than other shoes. It's ironic because they're known for having a wider fit, but Charlie, she tends to like shoes with roomier midfoots. That was her one critique of the Atmos. It felt like it was a little too snug for her in the midfoot, but that was one of her favorite shoes. She now says the More V5 is her favorite shoe. She just loves max cushion. And then the other thing is the low drop. You guys know we love the low drop on this channel. The Balos has the low drop, and that's an amazing shoe. More V5 from New Balance has the low drop. Rebel has the low drop. Mach 6 has the low drop. Anything below 6 millimeters, for me and for a lot of you guys out there, that's what we're going for right now. So this is not going to be a 10 millimeter Pegasus situation. The reason why those 10 millimeter drops are a little bit more challenging is that it puts you on your toes a little bit more, and sometimes the heel can get in the way. But let's take a look at this. Ooh, is it going to be swagacious? I don't know. Topo isn't necessarily known for their swag, but bada boom. Ooh, okay, I can dig it. We got a little lime pina colada, a little gradient action. And I know with the Clifton, we were joking about Gen Z learning how to use MS Paint. This is like a millennial pulling up with Canva, bro. and popping on a little gradient. It looks like, so we started off with the, look at this, boom. This is the template they gave us, and then we just dragged a little lime gradient on there. I like it. I think this is gonna look pretty fire running. I do think the crescent moon logo, Topo, I'm sorry, but this has gotta go right here. It's not doing it for us. It's not doing it for us. Shout out to Erdogan, though. But yeah, so we get a full stack. This is the beauty of this shoe. We get a full stack of this PEBA, the race foam non-plated. This is the only shoe on the market now that uses a 100% PEBA midsole non-plated. And you can see as I'm pushing it in here, it's not super soft. So let's compare it to the Balos on that push test. And the Balos was one of the softest foams that I've tried with this fresh foam Balos. And that's what fresh foam, this lineup of shoes from New Balance, is known for. It's their softness and their comfort. You can see as I'm pushing this in here, my finger gets, I don't know, half of an inch deep. That's creating a super soft ride. And the Topo, man, it's almost reading a little bit firm to me. So, by the way, I said this is the only 100% non-plated PEBA shoe. That's not true. The Triumph 22 is also non-plated PEBA. That was also very firm. And this is a little bit more positioned as, or 100% more positioned as a speed training fast day shoe. Like these shoes we have up here, an everyday running shoe that can go fast. The Triumph is more of a max cushion cruiser designed for bigger runners to have more support. So this guy here, let's take a look at the width. We do have some nice width in the forefoot, great rubber coverage up here in the front, also great rubber coverage in the back. That was one of the issues that some runners had with the Cyclone. This is because it's such a lightweight shoe, designed a little bit more for speed than durability. Some runners said they wore through the rubber in this within really low miles. I can't remember off the top of my head, but below 200 miles, a few people have told me. So that was, I think, the core issue with the Cyclone was durability, other than the stack height, which for me, running higher mileage, I don't pull for shoes like this all the time, but one of the best shoes in the category for a lot of runners for what it does. It was just durability on this wasn't great. So looks like the rubber here is a little bit thicker. Let's compare it to our friend the Superblast, which is known to be one of the most durable shoes out there right now, if not the most durable. I've seen crazy 400, 500, 600 mile reports on this thing on the forums, and you can see pretty thick layer of rubber here. I have 100 miles on this guy. Topo looks a little bit thinner here, so that will be one thing to monitor. And I don't get all my shoes to 300 miles now. Matter of fact, I'm not going to get any shoe to 300 miles this year, but we're going to pick and choose some 100 mile shoes. Superblast I got 100 miles on this year. The Hyper I have, I think, 56 miles on. So I'm putting 100 miles on some select shoes. We'll see how this one does and goes after today's run. So the specs on this one, 37 in the heel, 32 in the front for that 5mm drop, and it looks decently high here, and it looks like it's going to give us some good stack right up there with the Balos. Let's do a little bit of a comparison with the Balos just in terms of stack. Yeah, you can see it's pretty similar. I think the rocker on the Balos might be a little bit more aggressive throughout the whole platform. The Topo is a tiny bit flatter from the heel to the forefoot, and then we do get a nice little bit of rocker up front. But moment of truth, guys, on the People's Week, you know we got to drop these shoes on the scale, do a little bit of a weigh-in. So let's see where the Topo Specter comes in, and if this race foam is giving us that lightweight that we want. All right, guys, weighing in the Topo Specter 2. And as I mentioned, they did have a previous version of this, Specter 1. A lot of people liked it, actually, that I've heard ran in it for long runs. It was a little bit firmer. Let's see. This is coming in at 250. That is light. That is light. That is really light. Okay, let's put the Balos on. The Balos, $200 shoe here. Also with some race foam mixed in. This comes in at almost 280. So this is the difference, right? The Specter is 100% of that light race foam. The previous version of the shoe had one layer of the race foam and another layer of a more standard training foam on the bottom. That's similar to what the Balos is doing here. The Balos has a mixture of training foam and racing foam, but it's all blended in together. So now let's take a look at our friend, the Asics Superblast. This guy's coming in at $259. And I've mentioned this before. This is a half size big, which in this shoe is probably almost a full size big, but in my normal size, this would be closer to $250. So the Specter is nearly the same weight as the Superblast. You do get significantly more foam in the Superblast, though. Let's just compare these like this. You can see the stack of the Superblast is absolutely absurd. It's not all of this that's wrapping around the heel here, but it is, I think this is 45 millimeters in the back versus 37 for the Specter. So you do get a good bit more foam in that Superblast. And then let's put the Cloud Monster Hyper. This is almost a workhorse daily trainer combined with a racing shoe. It's the most normal feeling out of all these shoes. It's not crazily bouncy out of the box, but once it softens up and breaks in, it's a really easy shoe to run in, a shoe that I could run in every day. This is 274 grams. So all these shoes up here, different weights, different strengths, different value propositions, but they're all delivering rides that, to me, are much better than what you could get for $140 or $160. Not necessarily much better, but different. And you do get additional benefit. With the Specter, I'm excited about this guy because it is not $200. It's going to be $160. And that's a great thing. So with that, guys, let us lace this thing up and take it for some miles. We got to see how this thing runs. Hold on. I always do this. I always forget to do the little QA check. Okay. Right shoe coming in at 253. The left shoe was, I believe, 1 to 1.5 grams later. Yeah, 250, 1.5. That's pretty good. A 1.5 gram difference between those. Nice job, Topo, on the QA. Now let's lace these things up and do a fit and feel check. Oh, man. That's a big one. And that's another big one. So I forgot to do the fit part of the Balos first run review. Someone mentioned that I only did the feel. But if I don't mention fit, that's because it fits normally. There's nothing notable about it. But I'll make sure to give you guys the fit on this one, especially because it is a little bit of a different shoe with this anatomical fit and all that. So upper on this, as I'm lacing it up, putting my foot in, it feels extremely similar to the Cyclone, which is the only other Topo shoe I've run in. You do have a little bit more of that narrow midfoot, that snug heel, and then that wider toe box. It creates this almost reverse or upside down triangle. I guess there's no way to have a right side up triangle, but you guys know what I mean. Where the point of the triangle is at the bottom, and then you have two of the corners at the top. That's kind of the vibe, a slice of pizza, where the crust is at the top, and then it narrows down to where you take the bite at the bottom. It has that feel where it tapers down to the back and you get more room in the front. So my Piggly Wigglies do have enough room to move around. This is a 10.5, and I think they probably sent me the right size. Yep, this is my size, 10.5. And it fits, I think it fits normally. I do think my toes seem to be a little bit close to the end, though, so we'll just have to monitor that. Also, something interesting, Topo sent this to me. I've never seen this before. They sent this to me from the factory with the laces through the top and skipping the penultimate hole. So I don't know if that's a runner's knot. They're encouraging me to do the runner's knot. But, all right, getting this other one on foot. And yeah, the feel, this is a case where the fit is more notable than the feel. The fit is the thing that's really sticking out to me with the secure midfoot. It is secure, that's the thing. They say secure midfoot, they're not playing. Also, my sock plus shoe combination today is absolutely atrocious. I apologize. I do not have any more of my low-cut features, so I'm out here looking like a Ruby Tuesdays menu. This is embarrassing. Yeah, bro, the sock shoe combination today is not Supple certified. But you know what is Supple certified? Lacing up the shoes and getting in the miles regardless if we have the right gear, the perfect socks. We don't need the perfect socks to put in the miles. What do you think this is? Fenway? All right. A little walk test here. So yeah, this does not feel super soft and bouncy like you might expect with a PEBA. So just walk in here, it feels a little bit more standard. It doesn't feel super high off the ground. As soon as I stepped into that Balos over there, I told you guys, and that's why I forgot to talk about the fit of it, because the Balos, it felt so soft, so bouncy, and so rocker. Look how curved it is. Watch this. See that? So there's a lot going on with this shoe, which the Topo is targeting shoes like this. There's a lot going on with that shoe. This shoe is not as distracting. It feels a little bit more normal. And that might be what Topo is going for with this. I really hope, though, that it's giving me a little bit more bounce than I got out of the Saucony Power Run PB that was in the Triumph 22, because that also feels a little bit more normal on step-in. And because these non-plated PEBAs can be soft, some of the brands firm them up. I'm just hoping they didn't make this too firm. But walking here, it is comfortable, yet my left side feels like maybe I could go up half a size in this. I can't remember if I felt this way in the Cyclone. If I have time, I'll pop it on, but we are on a little bit of a time crunch today. Got to hit that 9 to 5. But yeah, overall, it is a little bit snugger in the midfoot. We do have the wider toe box and feels a tiny bit short on the left side here. But with that, guys, let's go for the run. I'm going to do nice smooth 8 miles this morning, probably throw in some strides or pace pickup, test how these things do at a range of paces, and we can come back here and give you the thoughts. Let's get into it. I have to go, okay? I'll be back in a little bit, okay? All right, so first 3 minutes or 2 minutes running in the Specter 2 here. Initial thoughts, early overreaction, definitely firmer than the Balos. More similar to the Superblast, for sure. It almost feels like a lower stack version of something like the Superblast. Except the difference here is, because it's lower, I don't have as much trouble compressing that stack of foam. But I do feel that race foam bounce and pop. So I don't think, thankfully, this is gonna be a Triumph 22 situation. But I'm gonna try to pick up the pace a little bit today. At least get down to that steady zone. So I'll flip this thing back on once we got a few more minutes in the shoe. Bro, somebody pulled up in the stretch limo. Might be the president. It is Democracy Week after all. All right, that was mile 1, 7:16 pace. And this shoe feels perfect for what we're doing, which is these faster daily miles. Maybe getting down to a tempo zone. It's got pop, it's got pep. Feels like as soon as my foot lands, the shoe just bounces me right along. So if you like the Cyclone 2, this is gonna be a hit. It feels like the Cyclone 2, but just a little taller. And the foam does feel softer than the Superblast, and just overall more streamlined. So softer than the Superblast, not as soft as the Balos or the Rebel, but bouncier than pretty much any standard training shoe out there, as it should be, given the foam we have here. Man, whenever I had to have a beaded foam that just sings like this, reminds me of Boost, Adidas Boost. This is like Boost on its best day. And another shoe here that would be a great replacement for your Saucony Triumph 20 or 21, especially given the lower drop.
because the 10 millimeter drop on the Triumph was one of the main issues. Man, I'm out of breath today. See you on the other side of whatever. All right, a little update here. That was mile 2, 6:42. Let me just tell you, if you're a running shoe nerd and you heard non-plated PEBA when I covered this shoe at the running event and you got excited, this feels exactly like you're expecting. Non-plated PEBA, baby. Let's go. This is bouncy, and whatever they did to stiffen it up isn't making it too firm, especially as I'm getting down almost to my marathon pace here. This is non-plated PEBA. We don't even have to talk about the oomph anymore. This should end the conversation about the oomph. Maybe this is the video that makes me no longer talk about the oomph. This is non-plated PEBA. Bro, put some respect on Topo. The little guys up there in Framingham, Massachusetts. I used to play chess in Framingham, Massachusetts. Just grinding out weird looking bangers. This shoe is the Lil Uzi Vert of running shoes. It looks weird, but it's a banger. Cranking out some bangers. Topo is like the Tyler, the Creator of running shoes. A weirdos doing numbers. Bro, out here putting in work like that sidekick from Phineas and Ferb. You ever seen a platypus put down a 6:20 mile? Well, you're about to, baby. Let's go. I bet the Topo offices look like a scene out of The Breakfast Club. Mile 3, 6:24. Grinding 6 days straight, putting up numbers like Kobe, 24 hours out of the day. Do you think anyone at the Topo offices watches basketball? Topo gives me big ultimate vibes, not ultimate frisbee. You can't tell anybody who plays ultimate, you can't say frisbee. That's taboo. How many people wearing Topos are microdosing right now? My guess is between 100 and 300. All right, between mile 4 and 5, I haven't thrown down a tempo style run like this in a while, so I'm struggling. But the shoe is great. It's keeping up, it's bouncy, everything you'd expect from the specs. And I don't always highlight the specs, but if you look at the specs of the shoe, that's exactly what you're gonna get. And for the price, they're onto something here. So quick upper update. It is a little short, so this might be a half a size up. I'm still feeling my toes at the edge here in my typical 10.5 size, but breathability is great. We're out here in the summer, probably not too hot yet, probably about 70, but lots of ventilation, lots of air, not overheating at all. Overall feels nice and lightweight on foot. All right, almost at mile 6 here. Last thing I'll say before we get back, stability is great because of this little bit of firmer tuned foam. So 632, it really does not need a plate. It has that snap, it has that bounce, and firmer than something like the SL2. And the difference as well is it feels a little bit more directed. So when I'm putting my foot down, none of my energy is getting lost side to side, similar to how a plate functions. But then there's none of that harshness because there is no plate. But we have a huge hill, 2 more miles. I'll see you guys back there. It's Democracy Week, so we gotta go ballistic. Grind so hard, they thought I'm autistic. That's not a joke. Somebody actually said they thought I was autistic because of how I lined up the shoes. Interesting.
All right, guys, we got shoes strewn about. It's garbage day down there. We got the trash cans with the little fuel cell boxes and fresh foam boxes just popping out. I guess those are just fresh foam boxes because we did, Balos and more. But we got, let's see. Boom, nice little pace pickup this morning. Average 6:43, 55 minutes, 8.23 miles. And man, the Topo, can't even say it. Topo Specter 2 was singing. This is like the T-Pain of running shoes, right? T-Pain pioneered auto-tune. Topo is pioneering the pineapple gradient, but it's working. And I'm going to buy you a drink, Russ. Russ from Topo, that's my guy, Russ. I want to buy him a drink to say thanks for how much of a banger this is, man. I'm out here like DJ Khaled this week. Do I have to say it? Another one! Na mama. Yeah, so we're going to do this breakdown real quick, but the fit is actually great. I love how snug it is in the midfoot, in the rear foot. I think if you have a wider midfoot, probably not going to be great for you, but this length is a little bit short. Let me try on the Cyclone really quickly just to do a length check, see if it's similar. I feel like I have maybe just a touch more room in the Cyclone. Let's see. It is really hard to tell. Yeah, I do think on my left side I have a touch more room in the Cyclone, but I'm going to pop this other one off and then we can go down there and do the breakdown. I'll let you know my thoughts, who I think this is going to be best for, and so sorry for bumping you guys, and what we need to test throughout the next few runs in it other than durability. Oh, this is a deep cut, but this is like the V's of running shoes, man. You don't understand it when you look at it or when you listen to it, but it's not a fire drill, baby. This is the real thing. This is a 100% race foam shoe that rides like a 100% race foam shoe without the plate, and it's undercutting the market by a significant margin. So we got 8 miles in this thing today. Absolute heat. Now, I get excited about a lot of these shoes because there are a lot of good shoes coming out. We're at the stage of development in the market right now where you have models at the 2, like the Superblast, like this, the Rebel V4, or at the 4s. These models that have come out within the last 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 years where we now have these race foams, we now have these bouncier foams. Brands have now realized that you can do things like make a lower drop, make a bigger rocker, all these slight changes that make a big difference to the run experience of the shoe. And a lot of the brands are taking the formula that was pioneered by the Nikes and Sauconys and I was gonna say Brooks. I don't know, they pioneered durability, but that is pioneered by those legacy running brands. A lot of the running brands are now mixing it up and coming out with shoes that serve specific purposes and that do their jobs really well. So what is the job of the Topo Specter 2 here? This thing is designed to be a fast, everyday running shoe, speed shoe, and could even be a race shoe, and I think this does that remarkably well. So I was cruising at started at a 7:15 pace, dropped down to 6:30, 6:20, could not hold on to that because I ran 20 miles yesterday, and I haven't been doing much faster pace, but we've got to switch it up here because we have Chicago coming up in a few months. But regardless, this shoe held on to that pace really well. It felt like it could do everything I asked it to, but it has a specialty for sure towards those faster miles. So very similar to a shoe like the Superblast or Nova Blast, or even to a lesser extent the Saucony Triumph, but kind of a weird shoe, not just looking, doesn't like Lil Uzi Vert or Tyler the Creator, but a weird feeling shoe when you put it on. The toe box and the fit of the upper is different than anything out there with the little pizza shape that I mentioned. If you skipped it, I said it's feels like a pizza on your foot because we have the wider platform in the front tapering down to a little bit of a narrower point in the back here. So that's one of the reasons it's weirder. And then the foam does not feel remarkable when you step in this thing at all. It feels completely average. It feels like it could run like a Brooks Ghost. Brooks Ghost is a great shoe, but not necessarily a super exciting shoe when you put it on. However, when you start running, similar to shoes like the Nova Blast, Superblast, and Triumph, that's when the foam starts to shine like the Superblast. Once you start putting some more power into the shoe, That's when I got the bounce. I just mixed I said you, and then I said I. Miss Kerr would not be happy. When I started putting the power, I'm just gonna talk from the first person today, because it's Democracy Week, and I'm representing my point of view on this channel. So when I started putting down some more power into the shoe, that's when I got some more bounce, that's when I got some more return. At that 7:16 pace, it felt good, but I think any slower than that, especially given the walking test we did and just having this on foot, even when I just stopped my watch down here and walked up the driveway, it firmed up immediately. So for me, this is gonna feel best at those almost marathon pace, steady zone and faster. That's making me think this might be a nice option for bigger runners though, and I know some bigger runners did like the Cyclone 2 as a more minimal speed shoe, so if you did, this might be a nice daily shoe. If you can be putting down that for, say you're 220 and you're running your daily miles at a 9-minute or 10-minute pace, it's likely you'll be able to activate this foam in the same way that I'm doing at 155, 165. I haven't weighed myself in a while, but however much I weigh, running at a 630 pace, you'll probably be able to get that bounce and pop if you are a little bit heavier running at slower paces. Now, downsides of the shoe, the fit in the front here, a little bit snug. That's just size up, half a size. And then durability is my one concern given the Cyclone. And you can see we have a lot of exposed foam here, and I am a little bit more of a heel masher, heel clunker, so I'm curious to see how we're gonna start chipping away. Oh, that's the family over there. I'm on a little bit of a time crunch. But how we're gonna start chipping away at this foam out in the back. Hopefully the rubber gives some good protection here. That is my one thought. The upper fits really nicely. There's no rubbing whatsoever. Nice padding out here in the back. Hey. Just rocking the Morse. Putting in that absolute work. Boom, look at those Morse. But as I was saying, some downsides, there's nothing really that's screaming to me that there's any major flaws of the shoe. I think they did a nice job. The durability is gonna be a question as we get some more miles in the shoe. And then one thing I do wanna check for is it still is PEBA, it still is race foam, it still is non-plated. How is this foam gonna stand up to long runs? How is it gonna do for a 2.5 hour long run? Could this even be a non-plated marathon shoe like the Superblast is? So that's what I'm gonna be checking throughout the next few runs. Could I do a 20-mile double day and have my feet feeling as protected as they did with the Cloud Monster Hyper and the Skyward X's? All of those $200 shoes, that's the biggest benefit for me as a high mileage runner. They make me feel super supported, and I know if I could only have 1 or 2 shoes in my rotation and I were running 100-mile weeks, I would buy one of those $200 shoes to take the burden off. And if you're at 40 or 50 or 60 miles per week, getting one of those shoes, or something like the Saucony Triumph, which is gonna be durable and have a lot of protection. So how's this thing gonna stand up just a longer time on feet? That is why the Superblast is such a fan favorite, and I can say I prefer the running experience of this to the Superblast. Very close to the Balos. I didn't do a tempo or faster pace run in the Balos, so I'll need to do a little bit more of a check. But I think for faster running, man, the firmer, stiffer, more rigid platform here, this is non-plated, but look how much snap it has. I might prefer a shoe like this versus a super soft and mushy shoe. The Balos to me might slot in more as that fun daily shoe versus this as a workout shoe. But please let me know all your questions on the shoe. I'm on a little bit of a schedule today. This is gonna be a good one. If you like the Cyclone, you'll like this. If you like the Saucony Triumph, you'll like this. If you miss Adidas Boost, you will like this. We gotta do some more testing, and man, this is a good shoe. Look at that. PEBA powered. This is how you do non-plated PEBA. Brands, listen up, man. This is gonna be a hit. I really hope people can get past how weird it looks. I know it does look a little bit weird, and I'm giving Topo a little bit of grief from it, but if you can get past that, somebody said this Topos looked like nursing home shoes, but if you can get past the aesthetic, I think a lot of people out there will enjoy this shoe. Oh, one last thing I did want to say. This compared to the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3, touch firmer underfoot, very similar running sensation, except it feels like it stiffens up a little bit more and stands up to my 4s in power a little bit better than the Speed 3. I felt that even for these tempo style runs like this, Speed 3 could get a little bit mushy and soft for me. I was not getting that in this. So the foam is tuned perfectly for me at my marathon pace. Could not say the same thing about the Speed 3 or the Speed 4. So with that, guys, please let me know all your questions. I know this isn't gonna be as long of a video, which is probably good for some of you guys out there. I'm on a schedule. I'll answer every question I get in the comments. I'll do my best to do that. Let me know what testing you wanna see. Let me know what comparisons you wanna see, and I'll be back tomorrow with another video. So I'm gonna bleep it out and just put the price. I said the price incorrect a few times on this. I think I said 150 and 160. It is 165. So that still puts it $35 cheaper than the Balos. What is that? I think, is the Superblast 2 still 200? I don't know. I haven't looked at the price of that, but the Superblast 1 is 200. So that's $35 cheaper than this and $55 cheaper than the Skyward X and Cloud Monster Hyper, or $60 cheaper than the Skyward X. So still undercuts the market by a good bit. That puts it $5 cheaper than the Saucony Endorphin Speed 4 as well. So this is going to go head-to-head with shoes like the Speed 4 and Boston 12. I didn't bring those out today because those are plated. I wanted to talk about the non-plated shoes, but we will do those comparisons too. Man, I think I am a little bit on the spec. One more thing, if you are not into the pina colada, they do have a blueberry pie version. So this will be, yeah, this is on Running Warehouse. When does it ship? They just say ships in August. So make sure to use my Running Warehouse link if you buy it. I'll put it in the description below, even though you can't pre-order it or anything yet. But okay, back in stock August 22. So this will ship end of August. So we're ahead of the curve here, baby. Let's go. Sup while running. Up your best.